I spoke earlier with her. She is a former Obama administration policy advisor. She was also a special envoy for the Climate Change Office at the U.S. State Department. She told me the framework for this year's summit is all about implementation and transparency.
Marrakesh is all about implementation. So right now, all of these countries have submitted these intended nationally determined contributions, basically their own targets. And the question is, how are they going to implement those targets? What is the financing that they're going to get in order to implement the targets, and then how to make the tracking of the targets more transparent.
So how is China doing in terms of getting to work, and the United States?
Well, so far the two countries are really in a leadership position in terms of implementation. China, as many people know, is in the process of setting up a national emissions trading system that's scheduled to take effect early next year. And in addition to that, it has many other policies like a feed-in tariff for renewable energy and energy efficiency performance standards. And similarly, the United States has a lot of policies that it has been rolling out under President Obama's Climate Action Plan.
But how is it going to shape or change our viewers' lives in the years to come, would you say?
Well, I think one question that is maybe a more difficult question on the table in Marrakesh is this question of transparency. And I think viewers will care if the country they are living in is doing a lot of work trying to uphold the targets that have been set. They want to make sure other countries are doing the same thing and are being held to the same standards. And so in Marrakesh, they're really going to be trying to define those standards and what kind of reporting countries need to do, how they will share that information, and the extent to which anything can be done if if it's becoming clear that certain countries are not living up to the commitments that they set for themselves.
So I guess you have a system in place now where maybe some countries are just staying the course, others are running faster, and you want everybody on the same page.
Well, I think in Marrakesh they're trying to create standardized rules for implementing this agreement. And in my view, that is sensible. Of course, every country was allowed to submit their own target. This was the whole notion of making these targets nationally determined. So the targets themselves were not negotiated. But in return for that extreme amount of flexibility, I think it is sensible that you have standardized reporting and transparency frameworks so that we can track progress the countries are making.
Kelly, I saw this one headline in one news report today, and I want to throw it out there, and I want to get your thoughts. It says, a dark cloud is hanging over Marrakesh, Morocco. What happens if Donald Trump wins this election in the United States?
Well, by his own words, Donald Trump has pledged to withdraw the United States from the Paris Agreement, which of course would be unfortunate given that the United States just accepted the agreement, and as a result, the Paris Agreement was able to enter just last week. So if the United States withdraws, it doesn't mean the end of the Paris Agreement, but certainly it would be a setback. It would also be a setback for U.S.-China relations, because a real bright spot in the U.S.-China relationship has been these joint statements between our two presidents for the last several years.
Kelly Gallagher speaking to us earlier.